Hi, I'm Dorina, co-founder of Quo. You might know us as OpenPhone. My dad is a business owner, and growing up, he always kept his ringtone super loud so he'd never miss a customer call. That stuck with me. When we started Quo, our mission was to help businesses not just stay in touch, but make every customer feel valued, no matter when they might call. Quo gives your team business phone numbers to call and text on your phone or computer. Your calls, messages, and contacts live in one workspace, so your team can stay fully aligned and reply faster. And with our AI agent answering 24/7, you'll really never miss a customer. Over 90,000 businesses use Quo. Get 20% off at quo.com/tech. That's quo.com/tech. And we can port your existing numbers over for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at vanta.com.
Good day, everyone. My name is Layla, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome you to the Ford Motor Company third quarter 2025 earnings conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. At this time, I would like to turn the call over to Lynn Antipis Tyson, Chief Investor Relations Officer.
Thank you, Layla, and welcome to the Ford Motor Company's third quarter 2025 earnings call. With me today are Jim Farley, President and CEO, Sherry House, CFO, Andrew Frick, President, Ford Blue and Model E, and Kumar Galhotra, Chief Operating Officer. Joining us for Q&A will be Kathy O'Callaghan, CEO of Ford Credit, and Steve Crowley, Chief Policy Officer and General Counsel. Also with us is Alicia Bowler-Davis, President of Ford Pro. Jim will give a high-level overview, followed by Kumar on industrial progress, Andrew on market dynamics, and Sherry on our financial review and guidance. We'll be referencing non-GAAP measures today. These are reconciled to the most comparable U.S. GAAP measures in the appendix of our earnings deck. You can find the deck at shareholder.ford.com. Our discussion also includes forward-looking statements. Our actual results may differ. The most significant risk factors are included on page 20 of our deck. Unless otherwise noted, all comparisons are year over year. Company, EBIT, EPS, and free cash flow are on an adjusted basis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodhi, and I am your host. And on today's episode, we are going to cover, obviously, Ford's Q3 2025 earnings call. And we're going to start off with an interesting one. We're going to start off with information on a fire. So let's let Jim Farley set this up, and then I'll go into a little bit more details.
I'd like to thank the Ford team, as well as our suppliers and all of our dealers, for delivering a very strong quarter. We not only solidly beat expectations, but our underlying performance has us on track to raise our full year 2025 EBIT guidance if it weren't for the impact of the Novelis fire in Oswego, New York. Sherry will provide details of the financial impact of the Novelis fire, but I'm very pleased with our team's swift and decisive response to this challenge. We immediately mobilized a dedicated crisis team, worked around the clock with Novelis to secure alternative aluminum sources for our operational lines and accelerate the plant's recovery. Several top leaders and I personally visited the site to support all of these efforts. In addition, we are adding up to 1,000 new jobs to increase F-Series production to recover lost volume and fulfill strong customer demand. We have made substantial progress in a very short time frame in both reducing the 2025 impact and putting in place an exciting recovery plan for next year.
Okay, so just a little bit of information here, background information. Novelis is an aluminum supplier in the U.S. In that New York area. It supplies about 40% of the aluminum sheets used by automakers in the U.S., and Ford is its largest customer. The first of 3 fires that happened in 2025 happened on September 16th, 2025, and that was a large fire that started in the cold mill portion of the plant, and then there was a second smaller fire that happened on October 10th, 2025. Now, and then yesterday, November 20th, there was another large fire that happened, but we'll talk about that in just a second. We don't know what the cause of the fire, as far as I know, according to the articles that I read, there's no determination of what caused the fire in September, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing out there as of yet that what caused the fire in October. And there's definitely not any information on what caused the fire yesterday as I record this, because November 20th was when the fire occurred. Today's the 21st. But we know the most recent fire, the November 20th fire, broke out in the same old or cold mill portion of the plant as the September fire. So we are seeing a pattern maybe that these companies don't want to be seeing in terms of these fires. It took multiple fire departments to put out this fire. It's a big job, these kind of industrial fires. And to be honest, for firefighters, they're not very much fun. It's a lot of sitting and just flowing water and waiting. Ford says that it could lose around $1 billion in earnings. That's just from the September fire. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the October fire and now this November fire. It could, easily be in the multiples of billions of dollars to get this plant back up and running. There's a lot that goes into that. So I'm sure Ford is looking for another aluminum supplier at the moment, as are several other automotive companies. All right, so that's the update on the fire. Let's continue with Jim's opening remarks.
I'd like to thank President Trump and his team for the recent tariff policy developments, which are favorable to Ford as the most American auto manufacturer. Credit based on our large U.S. manufacturing volume will allow us to offset tariffs on imported auto parts we need for a strong American production and manufacturing base. In addition, tariffs leveling the playing field for those imported medium and heavy-duty trucks is a positive for Ford because we are no longer disadvantaged for building every single one of our Super Duties here in the United States. We also continue to watch for relief from tailpipe emissions, which may come as soon as the end of this year. Federal legislation has already scaled back California's ZEV rules, and we anticipate a meaningful reduction in federal requirements next year. We are adjusting our product mix accordingly.
Okay, so starting off with the tariffs, obviously tariffs are a little less chaotic in recent weeks, days, but there's still a lot out there, nothing set in stone at the moment. And the Trump administration has some policy that helps, American auto manufacturers, or I guess you should say companies that build cars here in the U.S., because it's not just American companies that are doing that. And so that offsets some of the tariffs that they have to pay, which is great. He talks a little bit about the zero emissions credits going away and some other policies that the Trump administration rolled back, where they're not being penalized for making gas guzzlers effectively and adjusting the mix. I just see this as them saying we're going to make more gas guzzling vehicles. I think that's fair to say. And then I do want to take some issue when he said the most American made company. I don't know exactly what he means in that term. They build a lot of vehicles, so maybe that's what he's talking about. But I went to cars.com to look to see what are the most American made vehicles, and they have the top 99. I'm just going to read the top 10 to you, starting with number 10, we have the Volkswagen ID.4. Number 9, the Honda Passport. Number 8, the Honda Odyssey. Number 7, the Honda Ridgeline. Number 6, the Kia EV6. So far, none of these are American companies, but these are the most American-made vehicles. Like I said, number 6 is the EV6. Number 5, we get to the Jeep Gladiator. Jeep is owned by Stellantis, which is a multinational company, but it's, I believe, based in Europe. And then number 4, we have the Tesla Model X. Number 3, we have the Tesla Model S. Number 2 is the Model Y, and number 1, is the Tesla Model 3 for the most American-made vehicle. So I think that's really interesting. And when I go to try and find the first Ford vehicle on the list, the Chevy Colorado comes in at 19. We're still not even to Ford yet. The Ford F-150 Lightning is number 22. That's our first Ford vehicle. Number 23 happens to be the Ford Explorer. So I don't know that the statement that Ford is the most American-made company in terms of vehicles, or I don't remember how he phrased it, but I don't know if that's 100% true. And I should say it's not just where these vehicles are assembled. It is the parts that go into them, the whole thing. They don't look at just like, oh, you built this in the US? Great. No, you got it where the parts are sourced and how much of it comes from the US versus, other countries, that kind of thing. So Cars.com has been doing this for 20 years, and I feel like they're probably pretty good at it at this point.
Hi, I'm Darina, co-founder of Quo. You might know us as OpenPhone. My dad is a business owner, and growing up, he always kept his ringtone super loud so he'd never miss a customer call. That stuck with me. When we started Quo, our mission was to help businesses not just stay in touch, but make every customer feel valued, no matter when they might call. Quo gives your team business phone numbers to call and text on your phone or computer. Your calls, messages, and contacts live in one workspace, so your team can stay fully aligned and reply faster. And with our AI agent answering 24/7, you'll really never miss a customer. Over 90,000 businesses use Quo. Get 20% off at quo.com/tech. That's quo.com/tech. And we can port your existing numbers over for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at Vanta.com.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/acast today.
Let's continue with Jim Farley's opening remarks.
Our Ford Plus plan is designed to win in the market. Among 4 key trends, markets are more regional now. We all need tailored strategies. Customers are more fragmented between retail and commercial. This requires unique services and digital solutions for both. The competition is getting tougher. Namely, the Chinese OEMs are expanding globally. and the industry faces lower returns due to the EV overcapacity and global pressures. Thankfully, our strategy plays to our strengths at Ford: iconic work vehicles, passion products like Mustang, and the off-road franchises like Bronco and Raptor. We're also prioritizing hybrids across our lineup, including the development of extended range hybrid options. In the near term, I believe EV adoption will now only be about 5% of the US market, but this is going to grow, especially for affordable EV vehicles. We are well positioned for this with the universal EV platform, which underpins digitally advanced, very spacious, and appealing products that start at around $30,000. This is not a distant plan. It's right around the corner for us at Ford. Sourcing is at 95% complete now. We are testing vehicles. We'll begin installing equipment in Louisville for the UEV later this year. And we are on track to start production of our LFP cells at Marshall, Michigan plant later this year. To compete, we need innovation and hyper cost efficiency. In this capital intensive environment, smart partnerships will be essential to us. And our largest near-term opportunity is closing that cost gap and achieving world-class quality.
So he talks a little bit about the Chinese automakers. He's mentioned this several times over the last, 2 or 3 years in earnings calls, and because it is a concern. The Chinese automakers are making really compelling cars for a really cheap price. And, there's Chinese automakers in Mexico. I've mentioned this several times, but I saw a BYD from Mexico, a BYD Shark from Mexico a couple of months ago now. And Canada's looking at possibly letting Chinese automakers in. And, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Maybe they're just using also as a bargaining chip with the U.S. and the constant back and forth with the tariffs. So, that might just be letting that slip out there to get more favorable tariffs on different stuff and international trade stuff. Anyway, talked a little bit about hybrids, extended range EVs, which is the gas generator with backed up by a battery, and then the $30,000 affordable vehicles. I'm looking forward to those. I think that should be cool. Moving on with the opening remarks, I should say that they kind of passed the microphone. Maybe that was metaphorically, but they kind of went from person to person to person. Instead of Jim Farley giving his opening remarks and then the CFO giving her opening remarks, they just kind of went around the table and talked. So this, I believe, is the CFO, and her name is Sherry, and I'm blanking on her last name at the moment, but let's go ahead and listen in.
Ford Model E delivered both revenue and volume growth, driven by new product introductions in Europe. Let me give you additional color on Model E. Year to date, Model E is at a $3.6 billion loss. Roughly $3 billion of this is from our first generation products: Mach-E, Lightning, Puma, Explorer, and Capri. The balance is investment in our next generation vehicles, including our UEV platform. The only practical way to improve the profitability of our Gen 1 vehicles is through more of the following: pricing, new cost reductions, and improved fixed cost leverage. Given current industry trends, it's clear scaling fixed costs is a challenge for most of the industry. You can see this in the multitude of recent program cancellations and charges globally. We've been proactive. Over 2 years ago, we reduced our planned battery capacity by 35%. And last year, we canceled our 3-row program, making room for additional commercial vehicle volume. Clearly, near-term U.S. customer and market realities for EVs continue to evolve. We will have more to share about how we are adapting to these changes at a later date.
So, still room for improvement on Ford's electric vehicles. I think we knew this. So, next up, we have our first analyst question, and he is going to ask about the Novelis plant and the fire. And keep in mind that, again, this earnings call was 3 weeks ago. So the fire that happened on Thursday, the 20th of November, they don't know anything about that. Anything that they say, tack some time onto that because, there was a third fire. They know about the first 2 fires. Now they got to deal with the third one. All right, let's listen to the clip.
Your first question will come from the line of Joseph Spack with UBS. Please unmute and ask your question.
Thanks, everyone. Maybe just a couple of points of clarification. One, I guess I want to understand, why, as of now, you only think you could recover about $1 billion of the impact from Novelis. And then also just in some maybe breaking news, there was a journal article which said Novelis plans to have the plant back up, by the end of the year. So is that sort of in line with your thinking and considered in your outlook?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. This is Kumar. Thanks for the question, and thank you for your very thoughtful paper on this earlier. Yes, that is in line with our communication with Novelis. The hot mill, which is down now, will be operational in late November, early December. It'll then go through a quick ramp up through December. Between now and end of the year, we'll probably lose 90 to 100,000 units in fourth quarter. We announced today that we will add a third shift at Dearborn Truck Plant and higher line speed at Kentucky Truck. So through those actions, we expect to make up roughly 50,000 of those 100,000 units in 2026.
I would just add, it's important to realize that the makeup capacity next year will largely depend on Ford's capacity makeup. Even if we have more availability of aluminum, the real lever for us is going to be our own upside. And we're working through that. This is still early days. We'll have a lot more to update through this quarter and into next year's guidance. But please understand that's not Novelis restriction.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. All F-Series plants were already running 3 crew, and Dearborn wasn't, and now it will run 3 crew as well. So the factories are basically flat out.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that this fire happened, 3 times. It's unfortunate that it happened 3 times. That is going to make it difficult, not only for Ford, but for other automakers that use this plant for their aluminum sheets. I don't really have much more to add on this, so let's move on to our next analyst question.
Just a follow-up on, I think, some of the comments you made about Model E investment. I guess, how are we thinking about, the Skunk Works efforts now? Obviously, you talked a lot about, the emissions being huge, potential tailwind. But, obviously, you spent all this effort on the next-gen EV platform. Are there, just high level, are there kind of changes we're thinking about related to that? How does one kind of move forward?
Great question. The EV North America market we're seeing now in the fourth quarter of this year, we believe will be very different in 27 through 35, when that vehicle's out in the market. And so 2 things to think about. First of all, the UEV was designed for 2 priorities: the lowest possible cost platform with multiple top hats in one facility, and designed to really compete in the heart of what we believe is the new EV market in North America, which is affordable commuter vehicles. We expect adoption will increase over time, and the market continue to evolve, and maybe even regulations evolve. We think this product's literally at the center of the future of the EV market in the U.S.
Yeah, that's not a strong answer. Not a strong answer at all. Gives me no confidence that Ford has confidence in EVs. You know, they're spending multiple billions of dollars on R&D for this new $30,000 EV, and they're spending billions of dollars for the plant that it's going to be built at. We'll see what happens. Let's move on to Jim Farley's closing remarks. There's no more. There's no more investor questions that relate to EVs in any meaningful way. There was some stuff on tariffs. There was some more stuff on the Novelis fire. A lot of stuff on tariffs, actually. A lot of stuff on, the United States relaxing the EV, or not EV credits, the pollution standards, and Ford being able to take advantage of that monetarily because they don't have to buy EV credits to offset their vehicles that pollute maybe a little too much, so they'd be able to save some money that way. That's it. So let's listen to Jim Farley's closing remarks. He's going to thank Adam Jonas first, and then we'll get his closing remarks after that. There'll be a pause in between those two clips.
I just want to say one thing. We appreciate all of our investors and the people that analyze our industry very carefully. I just want to note that I know Adam Jonas is moving on to another segment, and I wanted to thank you for your activist investor point of view. You certainly helped us be better managers and stewards of the company, and I think we just wanted to say thank you as a management team for all of you for what you do. But when someone moves on like Adam, we want to highlight that. Thanks. Our improved industrial system is driving consistent results on cost and quality. Ford Pro is making Total Ford a more durable company and business. We have and will continue to take decisive actions to improve and grow our company, and I'm confident in a stronger Ford as we head into an exciting 2026. Thank you today.
Okay, so there was also a lot of questions about what's going to happen in 2026, and they said, you know what, we want to take you through that, but we're going to wait until 2026 to do that, talk about our plans. So yeah, did you notice that he didn't say anything in his closing remarks about EVs? So yeah, I'm not saying that Ford isn't taking EVs seriously. Obviously, like I said, they have the $30,000 EV coming out, which is a truck. I'm sure they have other vehicles that similar priced in different segments. But this earnings call was definitely it had very little to do with the EVs. GM's earnings call had a lot more to do with the EVs, but this one is pretty low. And that's okay. I mean, I guess that sometimes happens. I do think the information we got is valuable, and what they didn't say, which is mostly EVs, is also potentially valuable. So, all right, everybody, that is it for me. If you want to email me, it's Bodie, BODIE at 918digital.com. You can find me on X at 918digital. Although I don't do much on X, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Bodie Grimm, and you will see a black and white picture of me. That's me. I do a little bit more on there, but still not a lot. But I find that LinkedIn is more and more the place I go for reliable information. So that was that was kind of the plan. It wasn't the plan. That was a happy bonus to being forced to getting on LinkedIn by my oldest. And then it wasn't forced. She's like, LinkedIn's awesome. You should do it. And I reluctantly did it. And she was right. Rob Dunwood also was like, you should really be on LinkedIn. And I was like, I don't want to be. And it turns out he was right too. So, yeah. Anywho, I hope y'all have a great day. Next episode, we're going to have Rivian's earnings call. And then we're going to have the Thanksgiving extravaganza episode with Ellison and Steve Sheridan. And, yeah, after that, we're that's it. I think we get back into our regular shows. I think I'm going to do Lucid's earnings call, and then that we'll be back into regular shows through Christmas. And then at the first of the year, I'm heading out to CES. So if you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/kilowatt. But that's an old plug. If you want to support the show, you can go to supportkilowatt.com. And at supportkilowatt.com, you can choose whether you want to support the show on Supercast or Patreon. And I might go to Substack as an option as well. I don't know. We'll see. It means I have to post. I'm already posting the show at 3 different places. It means I have to post it at a 4th place. And I'm not sure anybody cares. If you don't support the show and you think, hey, I would like to support the show on Substack, send me an email, Bodie, BODIE @918digital.com. If you support the show through Supercast or through Patreon and you're like, I'd prefer to do it on Substack, send me an email, Bodie, BODIE @918digital.com. If you have sent me an email, I'm going to work on those tomorrow. So you should be getting an email back to me from me soon. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for checking the show out, and I will talk to you Tuesday.
This concludes the Ford Motor Company third quarter 2025 earnings call. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Change isn't coming. It's already here. Commerce is going digital, and tax complexity is multiplying. Tax rules evolve, rates shift, data floods in. Vertex connects it all. A global tax compliance platform powered by tax-ready data and intelligent systems. Smarter tech, continuous tax compliance, built-in confidence. Learn more at vertexinc.com.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at Vanta.com.